everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome back to TEW 2020 where we're in charge of Impact Wrestling. I hope you enjoyed the intro. If you want me to keep that in, I can keep that in if you want. Just wanted to bring it in especially after the pay-per-view. But yeah, we're off the back of the Destination X PPV, which I wouldn't say was a flop, but it wasn't our best, the best we could have produced. Luckily it's not like the A pay-per-views anyway, it's the end of the year one. It's Destination X has always been a fun pay-per-view and that's what we provided. But we are moving into Sacrifice, and yeah, I've got a few things lined up. The only thing I do not know, and this is where I'm going to need your help. Moose, TNA World Title. I had a plan. I had a plan where I won't tell you how I would have got there, but at Slammiversary there was going to be a unification fight for the TNA and the Impact World Title, and then like they would unify, and then we would no longer have both. We'd only have one. I still want to do a unification at some point. However, I don't know where. I know roughly where I want to go with Moose. I don't know where I want to go with the TNA title, if that makes sense without giving too much away. I have a storyline lined up where I think Moose might drop the title. Now, to do that we have to pull it off really, really well, and that's going to be difficult to do. Yeah, I'm not too sure how we're going to do it. We don't really have many people who can take that title off of him and carry it with a similar prowess, a similar, you know, arrogance maybe. Because I was considering RVD. Now, some of you might say that was stupid. There is reasoning behind it, but it was going to be RVD. But RVD is slipping at the moment. RVD isn't doing too great. So who do I give it to? Another option that I considered was someone like Elijah Burke, and just adding a little bit to the Kingdom is another thing I considered. But I don't know how good Elijah Burke is in the ring. I have no idea. And would he do a justice for the title? And would he be able to go into a unification fight and have a big blow-off match that's amazing? I don't think they can, and that's where my issue is. I do not know who I can take in other than Moose to that unification fight, which then begs the question, do I take the title off of Moose like I planned, or do I keep the title off of Moose, go with the plan I was going with, but I never take the title off of him and maybe just have him defend the title less than what I have done? I'll probably go with that latter option, because I'm running out of options. Slowly but surely I am running out of options. So it's a tough one though, it's a tough one, and I just wanted to put it out there because I've been racking my brain and I'm still not 100% sure. So if we get to that TNA title and you're thinking he looks like he's running out of ideas, that's why I am actually running out of ideas for that TNA title. But anyway, aside from that, I think we should just press on, get on with it. I'll book the show. If anything happens beforehand, I'll show you. If not, we'll just get straight on into it. Right, so I've just looked at the news, and Preston Vance, or 10 in the Dark Order, has not been offered another contract by AEW. Now, if you look at his stuff here, as he's not been offered a new contract, I can take time on this. But his stats are reasonably good. The only big issue is his obviously popularity. I don't know if he's had any matches. I haven't checked that just yet. He's had a few matches on, well, not even on Dark, but mainly on pre-shows like the Dark of Darks. Preston is performing at like a 25 from what I can see, maybe even higher than that. Yeah, he's performing at about 25 upwards of 25. In this one he got 24. But because he's performing at that, and he's only got 10 popularity, do we go for him? Do we? It's up to you guys, really. I don't mind. He'll just probably become like what Darga is at the moment, which is just a guy on the roster who can wrestle, but I don't really have any plans for. So it's up to you guys. If you want him, I'll get him in and do something with him. If you don't, I'll probably just leave him to go on with his journey in wrestling. Right, so we got a few backstage incidents, or just one, between RVD and Wentz, where RVD passing on psychology tips to Wentz. Lovely stuff here again. Great to see, and hopefully that improves Wentz just that little bit more. Right, so I'll book the show and then I'll show you what happens. Right, so I've booked the show. Surprisingly, and I say this in all honesty, surprisingly I've made a good show, because after pay-per-views, post-pay-per-view shows are usually very difficult because you're having to start new rivalries but also having to keep matches going. Luckily, I've managed to somehow string together a show. I don't know how I've done it, but I've managed to string together a show. And not only that, a show that I'm actually quite proud of. I think that this is a great way to blow off the next 8 weeks, because that's the period, 8 shows, 8 episodes, and then there'll be the next pay-per-view, which, when you think about it, isn't actually that far away. So yeah, so we've got 8 shows, and quite simply, I've managed to string together a show. And yeah, it's just going to blow up everything. Everything you thought was going to happen probably isn't going to happen. But yeah, I think let's just get into it and let's see what happens. So we kick off the show in a monumental way. That's right, we kick off the show in a 78 rated promo where Mick Foley announces the Chris Candido Memorial Tag Team Tournament. This is very similar to the Dusty Rhodes Classic. This is for Chris Candido. This is a tournament I think they held back in about 2007, 2005. It was late 2000s. They held it, and I believe we should bring it back in a way. I wanted to do a tournament, I did say that. I was considering doing like a beer money one, or someone suggested America's Most Wanted. I'm still considering that. Maybe this becomes what we do for this time, and then next time we do one with a different name and stuff. Basically, if I did one properly, I wanted to have a graphic. I don't have a graphic, and I just can't be bothered. I've just got too much going on at the moment to go full hog with this. So I thought, what a nice way, actually. Bring back a tournament that's already happened. It was suggested in the comments, so thank you for that. But yeah, what a way to kick off the show. So basically, the tournament will go as follows. So it will be TJP and Falabar versus Ace Austin and Man Fulton on the side A. On the same side will be the Rascals versus English and Gotch. Then moving on to the other side of the bracket, you'll have the North versus XXXL. And on the same side, you will have the Sons of Perfection versus the Dinas. Now, these, I believe, are the 8 other best tag teams that we've got, other than, obviously, the Good Brothers, who are tied up, the Kingdom tag team, who I've decided to tie up with the Good Brothers situation. The Motor City Machine Guns, you'll know what happens with them later, but obviously they've got the titles. So I wanted to kind of just put all my best tag teams in this. Put down in the comments down below which one you think will win the tournament. Whoever wins this tournament will face the tag team champions. Now, what I was considering, and this is genuine what I was considering throwing in a couple of shoehorn tag teams in, maybe similar to like the Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong or whatever it was that the other year in that, and all of these random tag teams. Oh, it was Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, wasn't it? I was considering doing a similar thing to that, but for me, I've got 8 tag team spots, and I want to elevate my tag team division, and right now those are the tag teams that I've got. So, as those are the tag teams that I've got, I want to showcase those, especially in the first year. of this, or the first type of tournament like this. I want to showcase them. So that's what I've done. So yeah, a great way to start the show. I probably blabbered on a bit too much there, but I wanted to explain my reasoning, and I wanted to obviously explain the brackets so you guys can expect certain matches. And we're giving a new gimmick to Wentz because it was told that we needed to do that. May receive a bonus when booked to look dominant. Brilliant. It won't ever be booked to look that way, but sure. Right, the first match of the tournament is the North versus Triple XL. Now, in about a decent wrestling, the North defeated Triple XL in about 13 minutes when Josh Alexander pinned Larry D with a TKO. Larry D was the weak link, and this match was obviously a part of that tournament. Josh Alexander 44, Ethan Page 42, Ace Romero 37, Larry D 25. All really good stuff here. 44 rating, decent stuff. But yeah, that is the first match in the tournament. So the North will progress, and they'll either face the Sons of Perfection or they'll face the Dinas in the next round. Then we've got a segment between TJP and Falabar, where TJP tells Falabar that they can't lose. They can't afford to lose to Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. They can't afford to do it. TJP's just come off a massive win at the pay-per-view. He can't afford to lose this match. They need to press on. And he says, and because it's so important to me, he went, if we lose tonight, we're done. So if TJP and Falabar lose to Madman Fulton and Ace Austin, they're done. They're done as a tag team. They're done together. That'll be it. And possibly the end of Falabar if that happens as well. So yeah, 42 rating, decent stuff. Then we have a 61 rated segment. Wow! Where Alex Shelley confronts Miro and tells him, look, I got you to tap the other week. It was last week, wasn't it, on the show? I got you to tap last week. I'm getting a shot at this title. I'm getting a shot at your title. I've never won the big one. Maybe this is my time to win the big one. And Miro just smiles. That's all he does. He just gleefully smiles. Almost happy at the prospect of this, but also, you know, he's got a new contender, so it's a bit interesting. Obviously, I did hint last week this is where I'd go for the time being, and I think it would make sense to do the tournament now. So you've got the tag team tournament where there's all the tag team stuff is going on, which means the Motor City Machine Guns need something to do. Here's something for them to do, and I accidentally set this up perfectly. So yeah, 61 rating, much better than I thought. This rivalry between these two will be great. Then we've got a 45 rated segment where the Rascals say that they're taking down the North. Trey is just saying how pissed off he is. He's like, you cost me when I went to face Moose. You cost me in that Ultimate X match because I was just too battered and bruised. I could, like, he's not making excuses, but he said that it definitely played a part. And the tournament is mentioned. Obviously, the Rascals and the North were on opposite ends of this tournament. If they are to ever meet in this tournament, they are going to meet in the finals. So they do reference that. They reference the fact that, as far as they're concerned, they're not going to get involved. They're not going to get involved in the North's business. If they get involved in whatever way, it will be outside of their matches. They are not getting involved because, quite simply, it would be better if they win the tournament and have to beat the North to do it as well. So yeah, 45 rated segment there, lovely stuff. Just a lot of references because these two are just crossing paths everywhere. Then we've got a 41 rated segment where Taya Valkyrie defeated ODB in about 12 minutes by pinfall with a swinging side slam. I did mention the other week that I haven't really used ODB, so this is a way to put her back on TV. Kairi Hojo was at ringside for this as well. So, just to put stuff across there. And then we have a 46 rated segment. That's really good stuff here by all of these guys. So, Purrazzo comes out. Obviously, you've got Johnny Bravo and Rosemary there. They don't really get involved in this. They're just with Taya Valkyrie. And Purrazzo's like, I deserve a rematch. You got lucky, Hojo. And Hojo's obviously like, excuse me, I pinned you twice. One in the tag team match, one in for the title. That's why I've got the title around my waist. Jordan Grace comes out, confronts Purrazzo and goes, I want revenge. You know, I do want that title, but first I want to prove to myself I can beat you. So it's everyone's paths are crossing. Obviously, Hojo doesn't really care. She just wants contenders, and she's got 3 here. Taya Valkyrie, the #1 contender. Purrazzo wanting the rematch, and Jordan Grace wanting the rematch she never got. But Grace is obviously quite annoyed. She wants this rematch with Purrazzo. She wants to prove to herself that she can beat Purrazzo, because without beating Purrazzo, she knows she doesn't deserve a shot at that title. So it's all mixing around here. Like, you know, there's 5 women in this ring vying for, you know, this top position. Now you got to think, obviously, I had Havoc in the match last week. I had Thunder Rosa in the match last week. I've got Melina and Tennille Dashwood elsewhere, Su Yung and Kylie Ray elsewhere. We've got loads of women doing amazing stuff at the moment, and obviously ODB was just in the match there with a 36 in-ring performance. So yeah, really good stuff here. 46, lovely stuff. Then we have a 45 rated segment where the Kingdom stand at full force, all 5 members of the Kingdom, and Burke boasts. He says, look, I told everyone that Sunday night was going to be a big night for us, and obviously that's where Jonathan Gresham and Fred Yehi were announced as the next members, and obviously Chris Bay retained his title with no Kingdom involvement. And Burke emphasised this, that, you know, he took Bay in to this stable because he knew Bay could do it on his own. He doesn't want anyone that can't do it on their own, and he knows he doesn't need to get involved with these guys, and if they do get involved, that, you know, it's because it's what's best. And he just references the fact that these guys can just get it done on their own, and that's what makes them so good as a unit. So yeah, 45 rating, lovely stuff. Then we have a 42 rated segment where RVD says that he's glad Warhorse is behind him. He's just glad it's all done, it's all dusted and stuff, and he stands there and goes, right, it's my time to rise to the top. Tommy Dreamer comes out, kendo stick in hand, as he always does, and Dreamer says, look, I'm not happy with you. You know, Warhorse proved himself, and you took advantage. You cost him opportunities. You were costing him things left, right and centre. I'm not happy with you. You know, I've got a bone to pick. And it's kind of hinted that there may be a match between these two next week. So yeah, the little rivalry going on between Dreamer and Rob Van Dam, kind of seeing whether these old boys have anything left in them, really, is basically why I'm doing this rivalry. Then we have a 49 rated segment where Heath demands that Rhino faces him right now. A match right here, right now. Heath is seething. He's battered and bruised from last night. He's got like, obviously the bands everywhere. Like, he's wrapped up in medical stuff, and he wants Rhino right now. So Rhino comes out, and Rhino beats him. Rhino defeated Heath in about 15 minutes with a gore. Heath with a 44, Rhino with a 39, a 46 rated segment here. Decent stuff, kind of what I expected from these two. I knew these two could put on a decent performance. And then after the match, Rhino stands tall, Brian Myers comes out and he's just laughing in the face of Heath, as Heath is just literally screaming in agony, but he's also crying because his friendship with Rhino's just been ruined on the spot. Whether Rhino and Brian Myers are anything, I don't really know. I genuinely don't know. I don't even know roughly where this storyline's going. This is just the starting of a storyline that can last a while. But yeah, whether they become in cahoots or whether that's just because they've got a common enemy, I don't really know just yet. Then we've got a 39 rated segment where Melissa Santos interviewed the Good Brothers, and the Good Brothers said to Santos that they don't know why the Kingdom got involved. They haven't got a clue, but they want to find out. They are going to find out from the Kingdom what's going on. So yeah, it's decent stuff here. Obviously I know why they got involved. Big Brain over here knows exactly why they got involved. But I want to prolong it a little bit. Sorry, I've got an itch on my nose, like right on the edge of your nose. I've got an itch there, and it's really bothering me. Oh Jesus. Right. Anyway, but they want to find out, and I'm kind of prolonging it a little bit because it's going to last over a long time, this rivalry. So I just want to kind of just sow the seeds a little bit over time, and then eventually you'll find out. You might even find out next week, but I didn't want to do it this week. I thought enough was going on. Then we've got a 48 rated segment where Ken Shamrock tells Jake Chris bad luck. He pats him on the back and Jake Chris just snaps, starts brawling with Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock starts brawling with him, and yeah, it's just basically a pull apart brawl backstage. 48 rated segment. Again, just every segment seems to be exactly what I expected, and apparently my chair's creaking now. Then we've got a 49 rated match where Ace Austin and Madman Fulton defeat Falabar and TJP in about 50 minutes when Ace Austin pins Falabar with the Ace's high. Madman Fulton 38, Ace Austin with a 47, TJP 50, and Falabar with a 34. That's decent by Falabar. But yeah, Falabar and TJP have lost. That is it for these two. Obviously that will be referenced in future weeks, but that will be it between them two. Then we've got a 48 rated segment. What the fuck is going on? We've got a 48 rated segment where Warhorse, Danhausen and Crazy Steve are backstage and they have a weird interaction. What is it? Right, okay, I haven't used Crazy Steve. That's criminal, because I've been watching a lot more Impact recently, and I have to admit, why I haven't used Crazy Steve, I do not know. He's awesome. Warhorse, obviously, I love, and obviously Danhausen is a good person, and I find him hilarious. So I thought, right, we'll play these three together. We'll see what these three can do in a segment, and we're going to put them on the grandest stage, just see what they can do. 48 rating. Bear in mind, Danhausen, literally 0 popularity. Warhorse and Crazy Steve have about the same, which is about 30 pop. This is nuts. This is just nuts. I don't understand, but I love it. So basically just Warhorse and Danhausen, best mates, obviously, and then backstage just interacting. Then Crazy Steve walks in, obviously being Crazy Steve. And yeah, 48 rated. What is going on, viewers? Then we have a 58 rated segment. This show is brilliant. Right, Moose comes out and he's boasting about his win against EC3. And Sabin comes out, Chris Sabin comes out and goes, I won that title 7 years ago at Destination X. 7 years ago, I won that title. I want that back. I want that title back. As Alex Shelley has proven to me, like obviously backstage and stuff, you know, we shouldn't just pin ourselves as tag team wrestlers. We should go for what we want, and I want that title. So yeah, Moose versus Chris Sabin. This has been a happy accident. I remember roughly, I was trying to look at past TNA champions and see who was there to maybe come up against Moose. And then I found Chris Sabin and realised I can do Alex Shelley going for the one title, Chris Sabin going for the other, and see what happens. And it's just turned out to be an incredible rivalry. It might actually be one of our best rivalries, just judging by the segment ratings already. And that's just wrong, but I love it. So yeah. And then I think this is the main event. The main event is a I've got the itch again. It is a pre-scheduled match between Sami Callihan and Johnny Gargano. This match was pitched by Mick Foley just backstage. It was pre-announced like on social media and stuff that them two were going to face each other. So that's the next match. And it's a 63 rated match. That might be our best match. That might actually be our best match. Yeah. And I'm not even joking, that might be our best match yet. I'll have to check that after this. So Sami Callihan defeated Johnny Gargano, I know, boo, in about 15 minutes with a lariat, following interference from Eric Young. Eric Young clearly is pissed off that Johnny Gargano beat him and attacked him. 63 fucking rated. What? I think we just pulled off one of our best shows out of nowhere. And then the final segment is a 56 rated segment where Sami Callihan and Eric Young beat up Johnny Gargano. Rick Swann comes in for the save, but Callihan clocks him with a bat. and they're just battering them. Rick Swann is being pulled up, like his head's being pulled up off the floor by Eric Young, and he's just choking at Rick Swann out, while Sami Callihan rips up the padding on the side and DDTs Johnny Gargano onto the concrete, reminiscent of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano's rivalry. Just mwah, beautiful visual, as obviously Young holding up Swann's head as Sami Callihan clocks him with a DDT on the concrete, which I classes as a stump bump. So I made Johnny Gargano take a stump bump. 56 rating to close the show. Really good segment here. People did wonder who I'd put in with Eric Young. Sami Callihan had to be the guy. He's the only one brutal enough for me to just switch, and to have this like switch on him where he would jump on board just so he could beat someone up, and he's jumped on board with Eric Young. Finish the show. I do not know what this rating is, but whatever it is, it will be better than what I thought. Holy Mary, Mother of God! Yes! 65 rated show. We have pulled out the best show we have ever put on. Out of nowhere. We have pulled this out the bag. I did not have a single match put on. Obviously I knew that the Tag Team Classic was going to happen, but I didn't have a clue what matches there would be, and I probably put on what I believe to maybe be the two worst matches out of the tournament. Yeah, just looking at my list there, that's probably my worst two. To put those on and to not really know what this show was going to be at all. I didn't have a main event, I didn't have a women's match, I didn't have the Rhino Heath match. That first segment, obviously I haven't really had Foley in a segment on his own yet, and there's a hell of a lot of segments in this. I didn't have a lot of long matches. I had a lot of weird segments that I weren't sure were going to pay off, and they sure as hell did, and they pulled out the best show I've ever put on from nothing. That feels good, viewers. That feels good. I have to say, that was a shock. I was expecting, after seeing that main event, I was expecting maybe a 60 rating. I thought we might actually hit the 60. To get 65 takes some doing. Like, my main event scene right now is Chris Sabin and Moose and Alex Shelley and Miro. Let's be honest, people, those are thrown together rivalries. Then to have the Tag Team Classic, which you never know how they're going to go. You don't know what the matches are going to be like. That main event, Sami Callihan and Johnny Gargano, I haven't seen Johnny Gargano's performance yet. Obviously, that was a 58, but because of he didn't click with Eric Young at the pay-per-view, I wasn't sure what he could produce. And I knew he could produce some good stuff. But Sami Callihan, I wasn't sure how much he would be affected by the loss. Clearly, none of that affected it. The interference sometimes can lower down the ratings of matches, but it clearly didn't do that either. What a show that was, and we've just put on the best show we've ever done, and that just fills me with so much joy because I wasn't expecting it. Fabian Eichner has left NXT apparently. They've parted company. If you want me to get him, I can get him, but I'm not too interested, unless you guys have any plans with him. TV ratings there, lovely stuff. Right, let's have a look at some of this, because I want to see if we've gone up in popularity. I think we might have done actually, maybe by one. We might have not changed actually, but that's not really what matters to me. We'll have a look at this. Johnny Gargano might have got up a little bit here. No, he went down because he lost, which is fair enough, but if that is the case, that means Sami Callihan, we've just got Sami Callihan up to like a 50 from basically nothing, and he hasn't really done too much. He's lost the big matches, but yeah, and then obviously here you go. Those are the brackets there. I can't remember what I said I was going to look at, because quite simply I said I was going to what a show. 65. The top 100 is what I was going to look at. Events, there we go. It beat Bound for Glory. It beat the 63 of Bound for Glory. And matches wise, it wasn't our best match actually. It wasn't our best match by a country mile. So Mirror Eddie Edwards. So it wasn't even our best match, and we still got it. That's mad. That is mad to me. That was awesome. Genuinely, I'm so happy with that. We have still got Explosion to do, so I'll book that in a second and I'll show you what happens, unless anything obviously happens beforehand. And I'm quite obviously going to show you what NXT and AEW do, because I might have beaten both of them. I definitely probably beaten NXT judging by previous weeks, but I might have beaten AEW if they have a bad one. Wow. Let's just get on into it, shall we? Okay, so I'm just looking at the news, and Angelico his contract's ending, so if you want him, I can get him in. I've got him in before. He's a decent wrestler. I do like Angelico. It'd be a decent addition to the X division actually, if we did get him in, but it's up to you guys what I do. If I get him in, I'll find something for him to do, because he's a very good wrestler. But if not, then we'll just leave him to it. Joe Deering, I think is this Joe Deering here? Yeah, he's with Eric Young at the moment. I don't really care enough about him, but he is someone, if you want me to get in, I can, just for reference. Dominik Dijakovic is staying with WWE, so unfortunately we're not getting him. We'll start with NXT. NXT got a 55. Even one of our weaker shows would have beaten that, which is quite embarrassing for NXT. We are beating NXT quite regularly now, even though they've got a very good roster. Like Tommaso Ciampa's getting like 59s and stuff, and you know, he's a very good wrestler. So I don't know what's going on. I think maybe like their weaker sides, maybe they've had a couple of call-ups and they're struggling for like the big names, because they seem to be using Tommaso Ciampa quite a bit, which is the likelihood of it is their weaker segments they're struggling in. Just looking at the performances of their other people, even though those two are really good, but that's a segment rating of 59. I don't know how we got 55, but hey ho. And then Dynamite, we beat Dynamite! We did it! We did it! We did it! We beat AEW for the first ever time we have beaten AEW. Woo! That felt good. That felt good. That felt really good. Yeah, we've beaten them for the first time. They got a 63 show rating. We got a 65. We have beaten both NXT and AEW for the very first time. We're contending. We're contending, and our popularity isn't that high, and our popularity of our people is just going up and up and up and up. Because the people involved in that Mick Foley segment, the names that are put in there, all improved by 1 popularity as well. So we're flying high, viewers. We're flying high today. Let's get into Explosion. Obviously, if anything happens, I'll show you, but I don't think there will be. We'll just get straight on with it, shall we? Alright, so we got a backstage segment involving Warhorse, where Warhorse gave a lift to, gave the locker room a lift as he unveiled a series of spot-on impressions of some of his colleagues. Wonderful stuff there. Just happy-go-lucky, innit? Let's get on into this show. It's just going to be great. Let's just get on into it. Let's have fun. Right, so I've booked the show. That might be one of the easiest shows I've ever booked. I don't know whether it's just because I'm on such a high from the last show I did, and yeah, I just knew what I wanted to do here. In the back of my mind, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, exactly what sort of things I needed to do, and here it is. Here is what I have done. I think let's just get into it. Let's see what happens. I've hit every storyline that I possibly could have this week, so let's just go for it. So we start off the show with a 35 rated segment where Melina Perez and Tennille Dashwood defeated Renault Scum in about 30 minutes, when Melina Perez pinned Adam Thornstowe with an inverted leg drop bulldog. Tennille got a 42, Melina Perez with a 34, and obviously Renault Scum both around that 25 mark. It's just advances the segment between Melina and Tennille. They're getting on really well at the moment. One's heel, one's face, but they're still getting on reasonably well. I don't think, at the moment, I don't really think any of these two will turn on each other or what. I'm not really sure where this part is going to go. They might actually turn into a weird tag team. I might actually put them in the tag team division. I'm not really sure. Because they're not really involved with the women's stuff at the moment. They're not two of the top women's wrestlers right now. Obviously, Tennille did get the first shot, and Melina is just not at that high quality. She's similar to ODB. She's kind of there for her name value. So I'm not really sure what to do with them, but I thought let's give them a win here. I thought, what tag team can afford to lose? Renault Scum is that tag team. So yeah, decent stuff there. Then we got a 36 rated segment where the Sons of Perfection talk about their inexperience as a tag team. They're like, we are inexperienced. Yes, we've picked up a few wins, but you know, these types of tournaments are tournaments that make or break tag teams. Like, you know, they're the type where every win and loss means something and means a lot to a team, and they talk about that, but they say that they're confident, but they know that their inexperience could cost them. So yeah, 36 segment there, decent stuff. Then we got a 44 rated segment where Angelina Love comes out and she's boasting, and Reign says, I'm not letting you cheat again. We're having a no holds barred match next week. Whether that's on Impact or whether that's on Explosion, not really sure, especially with the other women's match. Maybe we'll have two women's matches next week, it just depends on the quality of matches. But yeah, especially with the other women's match that we'll announce later, one of them's got to take priority. I'm not really sure which yet. As I said, we could have both on the show, but it just depends on the quality of the matches, especially when we're having two tag team matches next week as well. That's already 3 matches. You know, you get what I mean. 44 segment there. Then we have a 40 rated segment where TJP releases Falabar. He releases him of his contract. Whether that's with Impact or not, I don't know just yet, but he releases him from his contract with TJP anyway and just says, look, we're done. And Falabar goes, look, I just asked for one last thing from you, and that's a match with you. Us two, friendly sort of rivalry, almost reminiscent of what Jazz and Jordan Grace did. It just popped into my head at Impact Genesis pay-per-view that's just gone on in real life. It's similar to that, really, where they're just going to have a friendly little match. So what is that match? It's a 41 rated match, actually. TJP with a 46 rating, Falabar with a 32. He can actually go, in a way. Not great, but he can go. So I might keep him around. He might just be someone that I just keep around as like an easy-ish win. But yeah, so 41 rated segment, decent stuff there. That's actually better than I thought it would be. Then we have a 41 rated segment where Su Yung makes a proposition to Ray. She says, you've got 2 weeks to prepare. After those 2 weeks, we are going to war. Su Yung is on a mission, by the looks of things, to get a bad side out of Kylie Ray. And Su Yung this time has warned her. She's told her, you have 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, you and me are fighting. We're not having a wrestling match, we are fighting. And that's the kind of illusion that we get. Kylie Ray is turning, or not necessarily turning to a dark side, but we all know what Kylie Ray is like. She's this happy-go-lucky woman. She doesn't like hurting people. Su Yung is trying to change that. She's trying to change her into someone that does like hurting people. So yeah, 41 rated segment. Good stuff there. Then we have a 33 rated segment where Rohit has a video package of him trying new things. He's in a restaurant, he's trying a new dish, he doesn't really like it. He's trying a new workout, he doesn't really like it. It's this constant thing of Rohit's not really got over the fact that things have to change and he's not really liking or adapting to change. Then we have a 36 rated segment where Rosemary and Havoc make a match for next week. This is the other women's match. So Rosemary and Havoc still have this thing going on. Obviously, Taya's going to Hojo. You got Peraza and Grace, although they could get involved with the main title picture. It's all kind of interlinking. You've got, spanning from Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary, you've got like 3 or 4 rivalries going on just from them two. So yeah, this match is needed, a singles match between Havoc and Rosemary. There's still tension between those two, obviously, after Havoc's beating of Johnny Bravo, which he's still feeling the effects of. And then our main event of the evening is Crazy Steve versus Warhorse versus Danhausen. Crazy Steve defeated Warhorse and Danhausen in about 15, well, more like 16 minutes, when Crazy Steve pinned Danhausen with a centralizer. Warhorse apparently carried the match with a 45 rating yet again. Crazy Steve got a 30, Danhausen with a 25. Crazy Steve was apparently off his game. Now, you're probably wondering, well, didn't you have an interaction when they all got on? Yes, but this is Crazy Steve, Warhorse and Danhausen. They're all off their heads. Except for maybe Warhorse is a bit more on it, but Danhausen is a bit more... Danhausen is like the mix between Crazy Steve and Warhorse. Warhorse is just, you know, he's this old school kind of feel to him, and he really wants... Crazy Steve, this is almost like a proving ground for Crazy Steve. Obviously, Danhausen and Warhorse are good mates, they were going to fight, but at some point, and Crazy Steve wanted to get involved, so they made this match. And yeah, these three, little bit of a show of respect afterwards. I didn't make it a segment, there was a show of respect where they're all kind of just nodding and smiling at each other, and obviously Crazy Steve is being crazy, but I thought it would be good to pick up a win so he gets a bit of momentum behind him, and Danhausen can afford not to have that momentum. So we finished with a 40 rated show. Really decent stuff there. I knew it wasn't going to be the greatest show, but I just enjoyed booking that one. And it gets, obviously, Warhorse, Danhausen and that on the show as well. But yeah, what an episode this has been. This has been a massive, massive episode. Maybe not in terms of like all these storylines, but there is some massive storyline development with Sami Callihan's involvement with Eric Young now. But the biggest thing is that was our first show that we beat AEW, and our first time we've beaten both AEW and NXT. We are putting on some great shows recently, and we're just showing it time after time after time. We're just getting better and better as we just keep bumping up the popularity of everyone. But I've really worked hard to get the popularity of the bottom people up, because I noticed that was a big thing, was when you wanted just a throwaway match, they were awful throwaway matches, whereas now they're not as bad, which is obviously good. But what I do from here, we'll have to find out. But yeah, really happy with what happened today, and yeah, you should be too. Hit the like button if you like this video and have enjoyed the fact that we are finally making a massive stride in what happens next with us. Put anything down in the comments down below where you want me to go with things, who you want me to use more, who you don't want me to use more, etc, etc, etc. And if you're new here, please do subscribe. We've got a lot more of this coming out, and just check out my other content on the channel as well, see if you like that. And I shall see all of you guys in the next video. See ya!